My whole life, I've been really lucky at finding money. Find it all over the place. And it's the best feeling. I mean, you guys all know that feeling when you find an extra $10 or $20 in the laundry, or a couple quarters at the bottom of a vending machine that you've been looking for. I mean, it just makes your whole day. And I feel like in my life, I've actually learned some valuable lessons from finding money. And 3 stories come to mind. The first time I found money, at least that I can recall, I was 8 years old. And it was a Sunday. And it was a very special Sunday because it was Super Bowl Sunday. And my family was coming back. We were leaving church. And we were heading home. And we planned to stop by the grocery store, pick up some food and snacks for the Super Bowl. And so we're driving. My parents are in the front seat. It's me and my sister. She's a couple years older than me in the back seat. And we turn around this corner. We just left church. And I'm looking out the window. And what do I see? Right in the bushes, I see what looks like money. As we're driving. And I go, Mom, Dad, we got to stop. There's money back there. And of course, my parents are like, now, Mike, I'm sure it was just some garbage. There was no actual money in the bushes back there. I go, no, I swear to God, there's money. We got to go back. So my parents, being really awesome parents, and probably just to humor me, said, okay, we'll go back. And so they drove around the block. And this is like a big, long block. It wasn't a normal block. So they went all the way around. And we finally turned back around that same corner. And they were kind of smirking like, okay, let's look at the litter so that, we can be on our way. And I jump out of the car, and I reach into the bushes, and I pull out a $20 bill that I found. Now you got to keep in mind, I'm 8 years old, and this is 30 years ago, so you can imagine how much money. And I went home that day, and I ended up using that $20 to buy pizza and soda for my family to watch the Super Bowl. And I learned at a very young age that when you come into unexpected good fortune, it feels really good to share it with the people that matter to you and that are close to you and you love. So, when I was 12 years old, a few years later, I believe it was also a Sunday afternoon. This time my family were out to get ice cream. It wasn't the Super Bowl this time. And we're at the local ice cream parlor that has ice cream cones this big. And we're in line, there's a few people in line, it's pretty busy. And I look down at my feet, and there is a $20 bill. So again, I'm like, Mom, Dad, look what I just found. And of course my parents, they look down at me and they kind of smile and they go, well, Mike, there's a lot of people in line here and there's a good chance that this hasn't been here for very long. It probably belongs to someone in line. And if not, someone else in the restaurant. So my parents made me walk around the restaurant and ask everybody, excuse me, did you lose anything? And everyone was like, no, we didn't lose anything. So I'm like, all right, so I'm still holding the 20, and we get our ice cream, and we sit down, and I noticed to my right about where Suzette is, there's a lady rifling through her purse. And I'm like, oh, no. And my parents give me that look, so I lean over and I ask her, ma'am, excuse me, did you lose something? Can I help you find something? And she goes, no, I'm fine. I didn't lose anything. And I walked out with the $20, but I also learned that day that when you find something that isn't rightfully yours, the right thing to do is to make every effort to return it to the rightful owners. And lastly, this is a few years ago when I was an adult. I was going down to San Diego for a boys' weekend. Ball games, bars, meeting some buddies down there. And I had a very early flight Friday morning. I had to stop by the ATM on the way to the airport. So I stopped by the ATM and I pulled out $300 cash. And, we don't carry cash in our wallets that often anymore. So I remember sticking it in my wallet. And my wallet was actually a little thick. It was bulging more than normal because of that much cash, which I hardly would ever carry. And I was walking back, and right before my car on the sidewalk was a homeless man. And he looked up at me and he just raised his hand as if to say, can you spare a dime? And all I could feel was this bulge in my pocket full of 20s that's going to go to drinks and beers and flirting with girls. And I pulled out my 20 and I handed it to him, and he just looked at me with like shock and also appreciation. And I knew at that moment that I would not miss that 20. It wouldn't even faze me for the weekend. And so I gave it to him and I left. And 2 nights later, Saturday night, I was with my buddies. We were in like it was a bar, but lots of loud music. And I looked down at my feet, and what do I find? $20. And I learned that night that when you give to other people selflessly, without anything in return, that good fortune will find its way back to you. Now, some people might think that all my luck finding money, or all my chance to find money, is just lucky. And that may be true. But I like to think that it's the universe trying to teach me some valuable life lessons. Thank you.